Greetings and welcome to SmartWatchTix.com. This year, more than others, we have a challenging time figuring out the differences, the subtle differences between the top-of-the-line, hardened, ruggedized adventurers smartwatches. I'm going to break it down on the round ones in this video, the top three, including the Zeblaze Stratos 2 Ultra, the Stratos 3 Ultra, and the Kospet Tank S2. They all fit in the same category of being ruggedized. They're hardened with the MIL-STD 810H specification. AMOLED screens, always on displays, but they're slightly different. So let's dive into it. The smallest one, the Tank S2, kind of for the smaller wrist, the lady's wrist, or a thinner wrist men. Mine's about an average size guy's wrist. It looks okay, possibly a little small on here. A step up from that, you jump to the Stratos 3 Ultra. Now, interestingly, the 3 Ultra and the 2 Ultra have exactly the same size screens, but the bodies are different. So take a look at this. See, that's just kind of right in the middle there. And if we jump into the Stratos 2 Ultra, because of the thick bezel and the growth on the side and such, it looks a little bit beefier. So for a larger guy, larger wrist, if you're wanting to get this style of watch, you might consider the Stratos 2 Ultra in that regard. Now, a lot of other things going on in here spec-wise. I highlighted the differences. The Stratos 2 Ultra has 3 buttons on it, a 1.43-inch screen with 466 pixels, 1,000 nits of brightness, and 391 ppi. I highlight that because it's different than the Kospet watch. 500 milliamp hour battery in the Stratos 2 Ultra, okay? And it's using the Glory Fit Pro app. Now, we jump over to the Stratos 3 Ultra. 2 buttons on that instead of 3, same screen, same dimensionality, identical. From 500 we dropped to 300 milliamp hour battery. Remember, the 3 is smaller overall in size, so a little bit smaller battery, hence a little bit shorter battery life, and it uses the Zeblaze Fit app. All of these are using a different app, so some of the analysis has to be, which app do you like best? The Kospet Tank S2 now. All of these still have all of the things I mentioned. This one now bumps us up to 4 buttons. Its size of the screen is actually smaller at 1.32, but the same resolution, meaning the density of the pixels is higher. This uses a lithium-ion battery, and it's rated at 390 milliamp hours, and this is 300. Again, now this is a different battery, lithium polymer, and 500 milliamp hour batteries for the Stratos 2. So 500, 300, and 390 over here. Sorry, the Tank S2 with a smaller screen, 390 milliamp hour battery. So you're probably going to get the best battery life out of the Stratos S2, but doing pretty darn good with the Tank S2. You ready to move on? I'm glad you stuck with me this long. If you got to leave, that's fine. Check the show notes for links to the individual videos of each of these and buying links as we move through the holiday season. For those of you who want to go deeper, here we go. In terms of charging, the Zeblaze use a wire, and it's a 2-pin connector. And they're different, and they're not interchangeable between the 3 Ultra and the 2 Ultra. You see the 2 Ultras is a bit bigger, and even though the spacing is the same for the pins, when you connect them, they don't charge each other. Thankfully, they don't burn each other out. That's a good thing. The Tank S2 now uses a magnetic dock on here, and you plug it in and charge it with the dock. So slightly bit... I hope you hear all the chickens and roosters out there. For those of you who don't know, I live at the base of a rainforest, and this is my studio. So we have nature sounds. Okay, that's the wires, the boxes you see here. They're pretty, they're nice. They all connect with the USB Type A connector. Now, I'm running always on watch faces here. They're my favorites on each one. Absolutely love this one. Personal choice, but I just find that one super attractive. It's very, very nice. This is only on the Stratos 3 Ultra. Absolutely love this one on the Tank S2 with the touch of color for the hands and the dial all the way around it. This one's okay. At night, I like it looking. I can tell what the minutes are. I should know pretty much what the hours are, but it's a digital one too. Going to show you all the different always-on screens that you've got on here. Plus, you have the regular screen. Sometimes you get them with a twist your wrist. Sometimes you can get it by touching, but not with this one now. The touching doesn't work on that one, but you can implement it on this one and this one. You can cover the screen, he says, to turn it off. Same thing with this one. It's a tricky thing to do if this one is on and you cover it. And that's an option you can turn on or off. This one doesn't go right to the always on screen. It takes it a little time out before it comes up, but it will do that. And again, you can't make the setting for that. But these you can. Now, the operating system is so almost identical between the two that I was able to set all of these up very similar. The phone calling, the brightness. This is the twist your wrist to see the time. You can activate or deactivate that. You got your powers level, and you can do things with saving power, flashlight, your settings. Come over here. This is where you can set the always on displays, and you've got the face gallery, and you can do on the Tank S2, you can actually follow the watch face. Some of the watch faces have integrated always-on screens that go with them. That's really sweet because then it will match. Otherwise, you go into the face gallery, which I'm going to do on both of these. You see the dots at the middle? Let's go back to the very first one on both of them, which is right here. So you have these different displays. Now, again, this is your always-on display. And they're different. They're completely different companies and everything. And they're not small like this. Remember, you got to touch them and it'll make them big, and then they only go on when it's in the always-on mode. But you get an idea of what these will look like. And both watches have a lot of always-on displays. Not so on this one. If I come in here and I don't go down, I have to go up. To get into everything. And I don't have anything more than these selections here, which are kind of limited, and I can't change them. But if I go into settings, and I go into always on display, and I go into watch faces, I can show you the 4 that I've got. Got this digital one. There's a nice little analog one. An analog one without the little marks around it, and a digital one that it appears this way. So you only have 4. It's limited, but it's still very, very functional and less expensive than the other 2 as well. It's the standard watch face there. So you can pick out, of course, any of these that you want to. And on this one, I'm going to just, for the fun of it, take you into the custom area, which we got to from here. And it already is turned on custom, so it will be custom as opposed to from the face gallery when we choose a face. Now, in addition, you've got this, which is the cover lock that you have on all of them, where you can cover it and turn it off. Uses a little bit of power to detect if you're doing that, so if you're conserving, you can turn that off. This puppy here is a stopwatch that you can have on here, and on this one, in the swipe down over here, we have that one is over here because I've got this thing in the middle, which is where you can set the display duration time before it will time out. Let's go for 30 seconds. That, for some reason, is not here. Everything else is the same, but you don't have access to that particular icon to put in here. Now, you have the stopwatch, like I said, do not disturb. And when you hit the plus sign, you see you have all these other things that you can also add as well, or take away, or rearrange. So the operating system, the user interface is pretty much identical between the Tank S2 and the Stratos 2 Ultra. It's the Stratos 3 Ultra that is considerably different in the way it operates. When you get into the apps now, between these two in particular, this one you touch it and it goes on and off. This one you touch it and it goes into your overall apps and back to the watch face. Okay, I don't know why it's stopping at the very bottom. Let's come back up to the top. Leave you there. This I can get to by simply swiping over to get to there. I guess I just went through them to check them, what's different and what's the same, so it's at the very bottom. A fast timeout going off here. We've got all your daily activities, workouts, some things that are different on the Tank S2. When we come down in here, you have blood pressure. Blood pressure is not appearing on any of the Zeblaze. Not sure if that's important to you, but I will tell you that it's really hard to get accurate readings of blood pressure with a watch that's using the watch technology. So if you don't need it, you're nothing lost if you don't have it. But it is something that appears on the Kospet watches that's not on the Zeblaze watches. You do have the stress, though. Blood oxygen's there. Now you have this other thing on the Kospet as well, emotion. And this one-click tap to measure takes 60 seconds, shines the diodes, and it measures a bunch of stuff all at once. You don't find that here between stress and music, so that's an addition on here. I know, I'm getting into the little nitty-gritty, but this is, they're very, very similar except for this. You get down here now into the weather compass and barometer. These are slightly different. I'm going to come into the compass. This one I have to calibrate. I want to show you what this one looks like. And I also want to bring the compass up on this one. I've programmed on these two to bring the compass up. Now they both have to calibrate by just pushing the bottom button. The button is programmable on these two, but not so on this one. It just gives you your overall workout information. But we do have, again, a compass and barometric pressure in here. And I'm going to bring this compass up. This one is totally different. You can see that right there. You have, it's hard to see really deep in there unless you brighten it up, but you have the other markings on here where north is red. It shows you the direction, and it snaps really quick. North is where I'm sitting. Now, you notice it's moving around crazy. I found out that my rings, some of these smart rings, have magnetic capability for charging, and so it's messing with the compass. So ignore that the readings don't seem right now. If I hold it away and I do this, this is a snappy, fast, and accurate compass on the Stratos 3 Ultra. Let's compare with these now. Here we go. I took my rings off, but I don't want to get the two watches too close together. It's the same, by golly, compass. And notice the response time on both of them. Pretty fast, pretty accurate. Again, the red should be pointing toward me, and it's giving you your overall reading. It's also giving you your altitude in meters and the barometric pressure. They're not matching up exactly, not sure why, but you can calibrate the altitude if you want to. Now, we can't really swipe and go anywhere else here, but you can go into barometric pressure when you bail out of here, and they're the same. So a lot of the apps, the user interface, everything in the UI is pretty much identical with a few tiny differences between the 2 Ultra and the Tank S2. When we are on the Stratos 3 Ultra, we're getting into some different stuff now. The barometric pressure on this one, when we get down here, is like this. And it looks completely different. And you can come over here and get altitude. So the fact they use different apps and the fact that this is so significantly different in those different subtle ways tells me that this is kind of a different build altogether, but yet these two are very, very similar. So full reviews cover everything. Take the time if you're interested in really going into the deeper reviews. By way of summary now, what you're looking at are really super hardened adventurer's watches. Any one of them will work really well for you. They all have the AMOLED screen display. These two have touched the screen that you can turn them back on again. A lot of different watch faces. They're detailed in the reviews. You can look at them there. I recommend all of them, actually, and I would suggest you go mostly by, in this case, appearance. How would it look with you or the person you're thinking of giving it as a gift? The bands are nice. They are pretty much contoured and integrated with each of these individually. These tend to be kind of the more ruggedized, manly-looking type of bands. This is a more simplistic, feminine, possibly looking. I don't want to genderize them because they'll work with anybody, but you can see the subtle differences in the build attention that they put them to. So, again, the Stratos 2 Ultra here, the Tank S2, which is really the S2 Ultra. You'll find out about that when you look at the review. They never did make a Tank S2 stripped down version like the Stratos 3 Ultra is. So they went straight to what they call the Stratos S2. And that's from Kospet. And again, we got buying links for you in the show notes and links to the deep review videos. And this is... wow, this is kind of completing where we are with watches. And coming up next, in case you guys haven't started looking into rings, got a full-on comparison review of these guys, and you really want to see that. If nothing else, to check out the app of all of them and see how detailed the apps have become for rings. There's no display, so they don't have to dumb down the apps. They have to put everything in the apps. The apps for the rings are trailblazing of where the watches may go in 2025. So even if you're not interested in a ring, and I know you are, look at some of the apps and the things that they're doing in there, like Chronos time, helping you to adjust so you wake up with your natural rhythm. Different details about stress, caffeine intake, ladies, your cycle information, ovulation. It's amazing what they're doing. I know I could talk forever, and I'm not going to. Thank you for watching. You guys that watch to the end, I really, really appreciate you. Mrs. Tix won't even watch me to the end. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.